here on iRadio. Your eye on South Sudan.
You are right where you deserve to be. Your eye on South Sudan.
For information and entertainment, stay tuned to iRadio, your eye on South Sudan.
بس خليك على iRadio هنا تكون في جنوب السودان.
Sounds of the week on iRadio.
أنا بقول أي حكومة دائما يحاسب من قبل الشعب. أي حكومة في العالم هو الوزراء ورئيس الجمهورية وهم الناس يسمون خدام بتاع الشعب وليس أسياد على الشعب. فبالتالي إذا نحن وضعنا المنهج في الحساب بالنسبة للحكومة بتاعنا بنلقى فشل ذريع سواء كان على ناحية اقتصادية وناحية الأمنية بسط الأمن في جميع المقاطعات وفي جميع الولايات. برضو كل مرة بنتكلم أخبار مثل القتل وشنو يعني عملية اللي حكومة فشل في توفير الأمن للمواطن. المواطن ما قاعد تستغل. يعني أنت طالب من جيبك تمشي لرمبيك ولا من رمبيك لواو يعني في أي وقت ممكن تتعرض العربية أنت قاعد فوق الكمين اللي إذا كان العربية ماشية لحراسة. برضو كذلك من هنا من كونيا بالبحر حتى الوين حتى البور حتى من البور للملكات يعني خطر جدا. هو دائما هو توفير الأمن والاستقرار بالنسبة للمواطن.
Sounds of the week on iRadio. Your eye on South Sudan. Live from Juba, on air and online.
This is iRadio News.
Good afternoon. This is iRadio News. First, here are the headlines. Sudan's authorities have ordered the stoppage of South Sudan oil export following series of drone attacks by the Rapid Support Forces on two key oil facilities in Port Sudan. At least 12 people were killed and 17 others critically injured in a deadly attack on Wuriang Payam of Rumbek North County, Lake State, early Sunday morning. And the African Union Commission chairperson says during his recent visit to South Sudan, he has called for the release of detainees and the resumption of dialogue for the implementation of the revitalized peace agreement. These stories and more coming to you in this news bulletin with me, Baria Johnson, and now the news in detail. Sudan's authorities have ordered the stoppage of South Sudan oil export following series of drone attacks by the Rapid Support Forces on two key oil facilities in Port Sudan. In a letter dated May 9th, Sudan's Undersecretary of the Ministry of Energy and Petroleum informed his South Sudanese counterpart that he had instructed two operating companies, Petco and Babco, to develop a fast-track plan to shut down the affected facilities. According to Mahideen Naim Mohammed, Said RSF drones attacked Petco's pump station in Al Hudi on the morning of May 9th, causing damage to the station. He warned that while maintenance team are still on site, there is a high risk of export operations being halted as this station is vital to the country's oil exports. The previous day, Dr. Naim added RSF drone attacked a major diesel depot in White Nile State which supplies diesel to PAPCO for operational use. These incidents came just 2 weeks after both Sudan and South Sudan announced the arrival of South Sudanese crude oil at the Port Sudan terminal awaiting export to international markets. The Sudanese government has instructed Petco and PAPCO to prepare a fast-track shutdown plan for the facilities. The shutdown plan, the Sudanese oil officials said, will be executed if these attacks continue to jeopardize the operations and undermine the fulfillment of their commitment under the agreement. Dr. Naim said, and I quote, "We have instructed both Petco and PAPCO to deliver a fast-track roadmap to enable us shut down the facilities. The plan will be set into action if these attacks will jeopardize these facilities and disable us from carrying out our commitment under the agreement to continue." End quote. At least 12 people were killed and 17 others critically injured in a deadly attack on Wuriang Payam of Rumbek, North County, Lake State, early Sunday morning. According to Lake State Acting Minister of Information William Kuji, the assailants are believed to have come from neighboring counties of Mayendit and Panyijar in Unity State. He explained that the armed youth started shooting people randomly at night while they were sleeping, killing 12 people and wounding 17 others.
It is very unfortunate incident this morning. We learned that criminals suspected to be coming from Unity State attack people of Rumbek North in the process of raiding, but very unfortunate. They start shooting people at random at night when they were sleeping. 12 people were killed. 17 were others seriously injured. The government of Lake State condemned such act, and we're asking the leadership of Unity State to control this criminal, because we cannot manage to cross the other side as the government of Lake State. It is the government of Unity State to control these people from such an act. So it is very unfortunate, and I'm saying criminal has to stop. Criminal activities between the neighboring state have to be stopped.
Gabriel Majok Bol, Panyijar County Commissioner in Unity State, confirmed that youth from his county were involved in the attack. Majok added that intervention will only be possible once the armed youth return from the field.
I received that information this morning when I go to the church. Big message from Bentiu that there was a criminal attack from Bengals cattle camps. Those are criminals. My intervention it will happen when they reach the area. But by now, when they are still in the field when they are still in the field, there will be no time for us to reach them. But when they enter in the area, this is whereby we can intervene. My message to community of Lagos State or in Lagos State in general, essentially the countries who are having a border with the Panyijar, as already they knew that I used to collect the cow back to the owner, that those criminals, we are still that we will also find way of getting cow back in there.
Daniel Ladd, civil society activist in Lake State, condemned the attack and called for urgent security deployment along the borders with Unity State.
You know, we have learned about the unfortunate situation where communities of Rumbek North were suspected to be coming from Panyajar and Unity and Mayendit. You know, this is a situation that we have been, we condemn strongest time possible as CEPO and calling for our government to intervene, because we have been asking the government to deploy, posts along the borders, at least to protect the lands with their peace.
The African Union Commission chairperson says during his recent visit to South Sudan, he has called for the release of detainees and the resumption of dialogue for the implementation of the revitalized peace agreement. Mohammed Ali Yusuf said the call was made during his meeting with President Salva Kiir. In March 2025, government spokesperson Michael McQuay announced first Vice President Dr. Riek Machar was under house arrest pending an investigation into allegations that he incited his forces to engage in armed conflict against the government. In response, the SPLMIO released a statement condemning what it described as arbitrary and unlawful arrest of senior party leaders, including Deputy Chief of Defense Forces and Acting SPLIO Chief of Staff General Doplam, as well as Petroleum Minister Potkang. Early this month, President Salva Kiir met with high-level delegation from the African Union and the Intergovernmental Authority on Development IGAD to discuss the progress of the 2018 peace agreement. The delegation, led by AU Commission Chairperson Mohammed Ali Yusuf, met with senior government officials, including the acting SPLMIO chairperson, including the interim chair of the SPLMIO, Stephen Parkol, and his deputy Lasuba Wangu. The talks focused on accelerating the peace process, promoting democratic governance, and strengthening regional security. Mohammed Ali Yusuf addressed the media at the AU headquarters in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, early this morning.
On South Sudan, On the 5th of May, I also made a visit to this brotherly country and had a thorough discussion with President Salva Kiir and his government and other stakeholders. I called the government, therefore, the release of the detainees and the resumption of dialogue in order to step up the implementation pace of the revitalized peace agreement. We also conducted that mission jointly with IGAD, and we engaged also with partners supporting the Republic of South Sudan.
A civil society activist has appealed to the UN Security Council to call for the resumption of Tumaini Peace Initiative. Jacqueline Nasiwa, the executive director of the Center for Inclusive Governance, Peace and Justice, says the stalled peace talks will provide an opportunity to address the challenges facing nation building in the country. The peace negotiation led by Kenya brings on board opposition groups that were not part of the 2018 peace deal, was adjourned for the third time on February 7th without an agreement. The Tumaini initiative aimed to resolve South Sudan's prolonged instability and harmonize fractured political and military actors towards the goal of transitioning the country to democracy and lasting peace. Activist Nasiwa said the Kenyan-led Peace Initiative for South Sudan is a crucial platform for addressing the current political crisis. She addressed the UN Security Council virtually last week.
I strongly recommend that the Security Council call for a resumption of the Tumaini Peace Initiative, which would not only bring in holdout groups that did not sign the revitalized agreement, but also provide an opportunity to address the challenges of nation building. It is also critical that the international community urgently support grassroots peace building and devise mechanisms for early warning and atrocity prevention to de-escalate violence.
The Nairobi-led peace negotiations for South Sudan were adjourned in early February at the request of the government delegation. In an earlier statement, Dr. Martin Ilielo Muro, the rapporteur for the Tumaini initiative, mentioned that the team needed to finalize the two extended roadmaps, which were announced on 21st. Dr. Lomuro did not specify when the team would return to the negotiation table. At the time, the parties had agreed to expand the institutions established in the remaining provisions for the implementation of the R-Access to include the opposition and other stakeholders. However, in a twist of events, key SPLM-IO leaders, including Petroleum Minister Port Kang, who was the deputy head of the delegation of the talks, were arrested following the Nasser incident. This has brought the implementation of the 2018 peace accord to a standstill. You are listening to iRadio Afternoon News. Over 1,000 returnees who have been stranded in Abyei due to the ongoing conflict in Sudan arrived in northern Bahr el Ghazal state in 15 trucks on Sunday. They are encamped in Wanjok town of Awil, East County of northern Bahr el Ghazal state. Governor Simon Obir Mawood said those returnees are from several states including northern Bahr el Ghazal, Warab, Upper Nile, western Bahr el Ghazal and central Equatoria. Governor Obir urged the returnees to reintegrate into their communities and to make use of the farming season. His government distributed 2,000 relief food items including rice, beans, maize flour, cooking oil and other essential necessities to support the returnees before they proceed to their final destinations. Obi revealed that the state-led initiative being funded by the Office of the President aimed at repatriating returnees from Awil and assisting others from various states to reach their home of origins. The governor spoke in Wanjok yesterday after receiving the 1,086 South Sudanese returnees. The head of the committee, who is also the State Minister of Housing, Land and Public Utilities, Dominic Kang Deng, said food items have been distributed to those returnees.
The returnees that came from Amiet under Rabia administrative area has just arrived in northern Barkazal States, Wanjok, Will East headquarters. Now the distribution has started and all the NGOs has contributed, especially WFP has brings a high energy basket. It's now being distributed to returnees, and even also the governor and all the well wishes has brought the food items and being distributed to all the returnees that came from Sudan. And that is the initiative actually by the Northern Barkazal Straits government. And now the distribution is going on under the leadership of His Excellency Simon Obermood, is witnessing the distributions of all these variety food items to returnees in Awul East County. The number of returnees is 1,086 returnees that came from Sudan, and some of them is still actually in Amiet, Abia administrative area, and the governor is still also exerting his effort to bring all these people back home, and they also need to be integrated among their communities and their counties, respectively, in Northern Barkazal State.
And finally, an official at the Ministry of Health is calling for translation of awareness messages on fistula into local languages. Obstetric fistula is an abnormal opening between a woman's genital tract and her urinary tract, often resulting from prolonged obstructed labor during childbirth. Akech Deng, the fistula coordinator at the Ministry of Health, says translating fistula-related content into local languages is important in ensuring that the community fully understand what it is and how it occurs in prevention and treatment. Akech also called on the community to advocate for girl-child empowerment through education as a way to prevent fistula occurrence in the country. The health official spoke on iRadio's Zone 72 program over the weekend.
It is important to translate this fistula in local context wherever they can be able to understand. As I speak with you, some of them will not be able to understand. If we say Nazural Buli, some of them in Arabic will not be able to understand. No. So we are encouraged the community to translate this fistula in the simple language so that other people could be able to understand. Because there are some women now who are there, they have a fistula, but they don't know. Recently, when we have campaigning, my friend, one woman, I would say more than 12 years with a fistula. So it was shocked me when I was met with that woman. Because I heard what happened, he said he cannot be able to get any information. So in that kind of thing, because we need to translate this fistula in the local context. So women empowerment in the shows and girl empowerment, also to send girl to school, is very, very crucial in the community awareness. For community are the ambassador for this program.
For her part, Executive Director of the South Sudan Nurses and Midwives Association, Agnes Juan, urged an end to stigma towards women and girls living with obstetric fistula. Juan further called on the communities to advocate for an end to child marriage.
Fistula is a condition in which it can be treated. For those who are already having, let us treat them, let us support them, let us stop the shame, let us not stigmatize them. It is not their fault. Then for the young ones, let us prevent. Teachers out there, talk to our girls at school, let them stay in school, let them prevent. For our parents, the chiefs and all this, let us prevent child marriage. And then if they conceive when they are young, let us support them to reach the health facility, to follow antenatal care, and then to deliver in the health facility.
May 23rd will mark the International Day to End Obstetric Fistula. The Global Awareness Day is dedicated to ending a severe childbirth injury affecting women by promoting prevention and support. According to UNFPA South Sudan, an estimated 60,000 women in South Sudan are living with untreated obstetric fistula. Only fewer than 1,000 women have received surgical repair and treatment. You're listening to iRadio Afternoon News, and now to the regional and international news with Madrama James.
More than 100 people have died after flooding in a village near the shores of Lake Tanganyika in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, a local official said. The flooding which affected the village of Kasaba comes at a vulnerable moment for the Central African nation. Sam Ecology, administrator of his territory in South Kivu province where the village is located, said late on Saturday that reports from the area indicated more than 100 deaths. Elsewhere, Hamas said it will release Israeli-American hostage Idan Alexander, who is believed to be the last living captive with the U.S. nationality in Gaza, as part of efforts to reach a ceasefire ceasefire agreement. The decision comes ahead of President Donald Trump's visit to the Middle East on Tuesday. Hamas said it was also intended to facilitate a deal for the entry of humanitarian aid. Gaza has been under Israeli blockade for 70 days. Finally, both China and the United States have said that they have made progress at the trade talks between the two countries in Switzerland. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent described the discussion as productive and constructive, while China's Vice Premier He Lifeng said the talks were in-depth and candid. The White House called it a trade deal but gave no further details.
Thank you, Madrama James. And now to the sports news with Lasuba Memo.
Thanks, Baria Johnson. In the world of sports, let's begin at home. The South Sudan Under-20 national women team took a significant step toward reaching the second round of the 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers in Poland with a resounding victory over Djibouti at Juba National Stadium yesterday. The Bright Starlet dominated the match, leading 2-0 at halftime and extending the advantage to 3-0 in the second half. Interestingly, both legs of the tie will be played at Juba National Stadium, as Djibouti has designated it as their home venue for the return leg, scheduled for May 16. The winner of this match will advance to the second round, where they will face the winner of Malawi, Central African Republic encounter. In South Sudan Premier League, Holy Land Family temporarily climbed to the top of the table with a commanding 6-1 victory over Yei Lion Hunter at Bullock Stadium yesterday, bringing their points total to 54. The emphatic win puts pressure on fellow title contenders ahead of the remaining fixtures in round 25. In another thrilling encounter, Almeric Bentiu staged a remarkable comeback to defeat bottom place Nile City 5-2. Nile City had stunned the crowd by taking a 2-goal lead in the first half, but Almeric rallied in the final 10 minutes to secure all 3 points and deepen Nile City's relegation worries. Bullock Stadium is set to host more action this afternoon, as Jammus aims to reclaim the top spot when they face Wajuma Awil in the second match of the day. Korean Bor will take on Youngster Torit in a high-stakes clash. Youngster are desperate to climb out of the relegation zone, while Korean Bor are eyeing a spot among the league's top contenders by challenging the midfield pack. In thrilling El Clasico clash, in a dramatic return fixture in the Spanish La Liga, Barcelona triumphed over their arch-rival Real Madrid with a trailing 4-3 victory. The high-scoring El Clasico lived up to the expectations, showcasing the fierce rivalry and attacking prowess of both sides. That's all in the world of sports. Back to you, Baria Johnson.
Thank you, Lasuba. This is iRadio News, and to end this bulletin, here are the headlines once again. Sudan's authorities have ordered the stoppage of South Sudan oil export following series of drone attacks by the Rapid Support Forces on 2 key oil facilities in Port Sudan. At least 12 people were killed and 17 others critically injured in a deadly attack on Wuriang Payam of Rumbek North County, Lake State, early Sunday morning. And the African Union Commission chairperson says during his recent visit to South Sudan, he has called for the release of detainees and the resumption of dialogue for the implementation of the revitalized peace agreement. That's the end of iRadio News. If there is a story or an event you would like iRadio to cover or report about, please send us a text message on +211 925 287870. It's also our WhatsApp number. Follow us on X at iRadio Juba, like our Facebook page, iRadio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at iRadio South Sudan. You can also visit our website and listen to us online at www.iradio.org. Stay tuned for the news in Arabic at 1/2 the hour. I am Baria Johnson. Thanks for listening.